The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good. How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clarke.
Good morning. I'm Nico Haan. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to our more balanced, natural, wild world.
To recover our natural health, our rights, and our freedoms. Good morning, and I'm Paige Clarke.
It's a beautiful day in downtown Clearwater, 77 degrees, mostly sunny, going up to the 80s, 90s, and above.
It's hot here, guys. It really is.
We had a nice rain, though, every afternoon.
I do like the afternoon rains. And make sure you pick up our Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. This is a multi-mineral, multivitamin, multi-amino acid. It has everything you need. It's kind of our one-shot wonder. And make sure you subscribe to the Health Signals newsletter. This is news you can use, really.
Yeah, interesting article in the beginning here. How often should you exercise? And it's really not what you think or what most people think, at least not what the mainstream is telling us to do.
Yeah, I think that's all good stuff to know.
Yeah, so you can reach us, of course, at 877-927-6648 and after hours at nico@tfnn.com by email.
And Paige at tfnn.com. So give us a call and join in on the conversation. You know, I like our conversation today. We talk a lot about the food, but I like to remind people that really the context of our show is living a primal lifestyle. And we know now that it's much more than food. It's reconnecting with nature. It's getting into the sun. It's connecting to the ground and getting grounded. Mm-hmm. It's being a part of the world and not isolated into these little things we have here.
Yeah, and it's also about detoxing because of these things here.
Exactly, knowing when to hold them and when to fold them and when to get outside, right?
So the name of this is The Benefits of a Rotation Diet. And when I first saw the title, I said, they're talking about seasonal. That's automatically what I would think of. Mm-hmm. And because we don't eat seasonally anymore, it's a problem. And I think this brings it out because the reason that we don't have that much diversity is the reason we have a lot of problems, and maybe this is a solution.
That's a great idea, Nico, or a great point that you're making, is that comes back to that whole thing of living primal. The primal man had no choice but to eat seasonally.
Right.
He didn't have apples sitting on the shelf at the grocery store all year long. They were there
September,
when they were in season.
They didn't even have apples here in the United States, of course.
But a lot of people haven't tried this rotation diet, so let's kind of outline it. This was written by Kelly Herring of the Natural Gourmet. Is that her name of her site?
I believe so. She put this on grasslandbeef.com.
Right.
Which is...
she's also the founder of Wellness Bakery, so she does teach you how to make that little occasional sweet treat.
Yeah, she's also a spokesman for Wellness Meats, which is a great site also. So she's talking about a rotation diet, a way of eating that can be as simply as consciously rotating foods you eat on a 4-day cycle, taking care not to eat the same foods for breakfast, lunch, and dinner during that cycle.
And, as we cover, we're going to give you many of the benefits of eating this way and what these, let's take some consideration into what the top 5 benefits of eating a rotation diet might be. But right away, I just want to say, remember when I mentioned to you on the break, so many people, that's what we're talking about. I have food sensitivities, food allergies. Right. And in energy medicine, we can work with someone, and we often identify that the foods that, ironically, that people like the most or eat the most, they seem to have the sensitivities to. So why is that?
Yeah, it's a problem for sure. And this is a way to help identify. She says here, an estimated 1/5 of the population reports that have adverse reactions to certain foods. And those are the foods you're talking about. It's usually the ones that you're eating all the time. Mm-hmm. Case in point, my wife loved pizza when she was young, ate a lot of cheese when she was young, and then all of a sudden she became lactose intolerant because of perhaps the overconsumption of, maybe it's not so much cheese maybe unhealthy cheese.
Well, like Dr. Marshall always said, the overnight American cheese.
Yeah.
You know, what they put on our pizzas is manufactured. Sometimes it's called cheese food, God forbid. Remember those little packaged slices? The true cheese can be a superfood. We always say, Nico, it's not the food inherently that's bad for us or good for us. It's what we choose to do to the food.
Yeah, and remember what they've been doing to things like cheese and milk and these things that have really great organic fats in them. They've actually, over the last 50 years, because of the low-fat type of mindset, they've actually reduced the great fats that are in these products and probably have put something else in their place.
Oh, usually some type of sugar, for sure.
Yeah.
So like we said, you can use the rotation diet to accurately find foods that may be causing an allergic, inflammatory, or autoimmune reaction. And this doesn't cost you a thing
That's
to
right.
start doing this.
Yeah.
And you just have to be mindful of how you're feeling.
And it also give you a clue to other foods that you may not have thought of and how great they taste and how well they fit in with your family's budget and things like that. So,
And I do think it more mimics, if not seasonality, it mimics the scarcity that Primal Man had. You know, if you eat the same thing day in and day out, what does that say to your brain? It says, hey, food is plentiful, you know?
yeah.
And
Well, that's one way of putting it too, but I think part of the problem too, my way of thinking, is that there's a problem with the food because it's not as nutritious. It doesn't have what it used to have. So now if you're eating it over and over again, these problems really do start to persist.
that's a really good point. If you're eating the same foods, you're getting the same nutritional content, you're not getting that variety. And
Right.
so many of us, though, today are dealing with stomach discomfort, digestive upsets, stomach pains, brain fog, fatigue, and we actually don't realize that these symptoms, we start to begin to think that they're so common, that we don't realize they may be linked to our food. So by rotating and doing a rotational diet like this, it can become much easier to figure out who are the problem
Yeah,
children.
you can say, okay, this didn't agree with me last night because I didn't sleep well, because I had upset stomach or whatever. So it allows you to identify these things because you're spacing out between when you take it. If you take it every day, it can't be the food. It must be something else.
That's right.
That's kind of the way we're thinking about it.
That's right. So number one was helping to identify the problem foods, and number two is how you can allow immune system recovery by doing this.
This can help you calm your overworked immune system while mitigating food allergies and intolerances. This is really cool. And at the same time, as we said, it helps you identify foods that are causing a reaction so you can reduce or eliminate these foods from your diet completely, at least for a while.
That's right. And this can really help us to feel better all the way around.
Yep.
You know, number three is reducing the development of new allergies. Again, as we mentioned, the constant repetitive nature of eating certain foods can really stimulate allergic reactions. And the leaky gut syndrome is at the root of many of today's modern health problems, and yet this condition is often overlooked by your mainstream physician. But boy, if you get on the internet, you're going to learn a lot about leaky gut.
Yeah, and I think in the old times when I was growing up and I had this leaky gut, it was kind of called a nervous stomach for me. And I don't think that we really knew what it was in those days, in the 50s and 60s.
Well, we'll continue on. We got to take a short break, but we'll get back to discussing some of these things that you can help identify by changing your diet and maybe adapting a rotation diet.
That's right. So stick around, folks. We'll be right back. Pick up some Primal Edge during the break. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
I'm Paige Clarke, and we're with Nico and Haan, living a primal lifestyle. Today we're talking about this rotation diet and a couple of the ways that it can be healthy for you. It can help reduce development of new allergies, and we were discussing before the break the leaky gut syndrome that many of you may have been hearing about. So what exactly is a leaky gut?
I like the way they explain this because this makes it really crystal clear what's happening.
Yeah, so when you have a leaky gut, the lining of your intestine has microscopic holes in it which allow undigested food particles and bacteria to leak into your bloodstream. Your immune system then sees these invaders, foreign invaders, and they mount an attack. And there you have the spiral that starts,
kind of the
autoimmune disorder.
Fight or flight type of disorder where you're in constant readiness to attack.
Well, that's a really good point in that creates a stress on your immune central nervous system. So it's
this stress, this continues for months and even years. Your immune system becomes highly sensitive. It can become so hypervigilant that everything is treated as a stress. In this case, you develop allergies and intolerance to nearly everything, especially the gluten, the casein, the dairy, the corn, the soy, and the nuts. And this is what we see in our society. These are the most prevalent allergies in our society today. And all of us have probably been touched by that. My wife with the casein, me with peanuts.
Yes.
And a lot of other types of nuts, too. It's not just peanuts. And, of course, the grains, which everybody seems to be having a hard time with, and because they've changed them so much and they're all the one thing, and we're eating it every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah, so just right in there, eliminating and avoiding those types of foods can really help heal that gut. And that's what most practitioners that are knowledgeable about helping you to heal your gut will tell you to do.
And also, Paige, it's also the thing that we say the first thing you need to eliminate is the gluten, the casein, the dairy, the corn, the soy, and the nuts in any kind of diet or anything to do with allergies, and especially when we're talking primal, because most of these things are in our
Yeah, so I kind of like the idea of a rotational diet that incorporates a subset of the elimination diet.
Yeah.
So you want to eliminate the things that, let's just say, we know are inflammatory for the majority of people, and you can always then reintroduce them. So it can actually cause the immune system to become so overstimulated that you develop multiple chemical sensitivities as well as hives, rashes, eczema, or psoriasis. How many people are running to the doctors for the next chemical concoction for these external rashes and not really taking a look at what they're eating?
And does that do more harm than good in the long run?
Absolutely.
Because you're
I
eating
believe
the same
so.
thing still, so you
haven't solved the problem. It's
exactly,
a Band-Aid.
Exactly.
So the rotational diet does expose problem foods and
reduces the exposure.
Yeah, well, reduces them, but exposes them too,
Exactly.
so that you know what they are.
Exactly.
And then that way you can start to take action, and it can reduce systemic inflammation, and this will allow your damaged, leaky gut to heal. So number 3 is really encouraging diet diversity. This is how we started out this discussion this morning, is that really our primal ancestors didn't have a well to go back to of food, of the same things. I really like that, popcorn.
Well, they had
or
a
whatever.
very big, diverse thing. They
They never
say,
knew what they were going to stumble on, really.
That's true, and whatever they stumbled on, they got. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And they say maybe 600 different types of species of animals and plants that they were eating. So they had a much more diverse. We eat beef, chicken, and pork, and we have apples and peaches and different times of the year, and blueberries all year round, it seems like, and all these other things. Of course, the bread is always the same. The pasta is always the same. All these filler foods that we used to use for emergency only, we now become staples because
It's really
especially for
easy
poor
to fall
people.
into a pattern of
Yeah.
eating the same foods day after day, but this can be a recipe for poor health, for allergies and intolerance, and it is this diet diversity that's critical to your health, folks. Not only does it encourage you to get a broad spectrum of nutrients and micronutrients, it may actually help you live longer. And there's a study in the International Journal of Epidemiology that said women who reported regular consumption of 16 to 17 healthy foods had a 42% lower all-cause mortality compared to women reporting consumption of only 8 healthy foods.
Yeah,
with any regularity.
59,000 women were exposed to this test.
So shake it up a bit, folks.
42%. That's
That's
a
a
high
huge
percentage.
number.
Yeah.
So what does it tell you? That when you get diet diversity, you're getting a smorgasbord of the micronutrients. That's kind of like, actually, when we created the Primal Edge, if you look in it, it's a multi-mineral from soil-based microorganisms. We did add a few of the really key nutrients, but there's a huge whole food complex
Right.
from a wide range of foods.
Good point.
And that's the reason that we added those whole foods, because it was through this foraging that you came across a lot of different species, and we wanted to kind of incorporate that in.
Yeah,
Primal Edge.
when
Just a
you
little plug
when
there.
we limit ourselves to strict diets, our food craving heightened. This can cause you overindulgence, of course, to certain foods.
Yeah, you tend to
certain
crave
foods.
the same foods when you eat the same foods.
Yeah, and you're allergic to them, and you still eat them because you crave them. So it's a kind of like
Yeah, the allergic reaction has a lot of the morphogenic type of overindulgent type of activity happens because you just feed the craving. So without the rotation diet, you consistently consume a variety of new foods, so craving and feelings of deprivation become a thing of the past.
Yeah, so this is interesting. So if you start looking at what you're eating by the week, like normally my wife and I eat pork chops on Monday.
Right.
Sunday, we typically have either a ribeye or maybe some pastured chicken.
Yeah, you've sort of built it into your schedule, and that you think about what's going to be my protein source. I think that's a great idea for a lot of
Yeah,
busy
but I'm
people,
looking
too.
at it, and it's not that diverse. Yeah, we do have a different protein source every single day of the week normally. And vegetables, we don't eat a lot of vegetables, but we mostly eat the pickled and fermented type of vegetables. Not much else. So we don't have a lot of diversity. So, looking at this, it's probably going to be very advantageous. Of course, we do take the Primal Edge. We do take the aminos to boost ourselves. But now I'm thinking, okay, where can I find more diverse food?
I really
So it really
try.
gets you thinking it.
That's something I really enjoy doing, is eating a lot of diverse food. The thing that I'm doing now a lot is really incorporating a lot of Jack Cruz work about
K-R-U-S-S-E, Jack Cruz. Look him up.
a lot of his work. Well, he's all about. It's not all about the diet. It's about the sun and the grounding. And I 100% agree with him. And after all, the reason that we're eating the food is to get the electrons that were created because of sunlight. So it comes down to that, folks. But really, seafood. Seafood is the missing link in getting supreme health And that's what allowed our brains to grow to the size.
Yeah, it's interesting how our society works because, these days down in Florida, the fish to go for is grouper. And I was reading an article in the Tampa Bay Times about grouper, and they're saying just around the World War II, they were having trouble eating the grouper because nobody wanted it.
Really?
Yeah, because they thought this was a trash fish. It's a bottom feeder. It's not really good. Of course, he eats all those crabs and everything good. So we now know that grouper is a great fish. But people who came down to Florida during World War II were encouraged to eat it because we were overfishing all the other fish, and there were so many groupers around. Of course, now that's my favorite fish.
Right.
So
many people.
It's funny how we get a mindset of one thing, and it's not because of what we think. It has nothing to do with health. It just has to do with, that's a bottom feeder. That's
well,
no good.
Dr. Jack's teaching us that the real health is in the bottom feeders.
There's no doubt
and,
about it.
There's a whole school of thought that says bottom feeders are bad, but we're talking about the selenium and everything that's there. It's oysters, it's crustaceans, it's the clams and the mussels.
So when we come back, we're going to start down this journey of different types of diets. And
go back to what's important. What did Grandma eat?
Yeah, exactly. We'll be right back.
We'd like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back to the show. So this next article is called What Great Grandma Ate. And it's, of course, I usually talk about my grandmother. But the generations have gone by,
well,
so really maybe great-great-grandfather.
Yeah, I mean, we have to go back to the great-grandmas in your time, because I try and think my kids who are in their 20s and 30s, if they look at what grandma ate or great-grandma, you know, they were starting to get into that era in the 60s and so forth where industry was really trying to push on these mamas that they had to start adapting these new Franken fats and all of that to make life easier.
Yeah.
But this is really a cute little story. It's written by a nutritional therapy practitioner who herself had suffered from irritable bowel syndrome, and how her own journey to find herself, she got no relief from the medical profession, who said, well, some people, this just happens to it. I love when they give you a diagnosis, irritable bowel syndrome. It sounds like some, but when you break down the words, it's like she said, well, what causes it? Oh, we don't know. Well, we do know.
Yeah,
and guess
food.
how she figured it out? Dr. Google. What's wrong with Dr. Google? Dr. Google is the intelligence of the universe. It's the research. It's the PubMed. Dr. Google lists the research articles that your doctor doesn't take the time to read anymore.
And of course, your doctor can say, like you said in the break, when you say, well, I've been doing my research, you're saying, oh, you're online, you're Googling, oh my God. Because
well, it's
online,
a lot more than he's doing, I can tell you. Majority of the
Possibly.
doctors are not
Sure.
and of course, I love the doctors that do. We've had some of them
Yeah.
on the show, Dr. Minkoff. I mean, they stay up to date on the literature, but not to digress, but, the struggles when you argue with people about certain things that have been proven to be true, and they're still pumping out the rhetoric, which
Yeah.
a lot of it has to do with their being, pursued to do these things because of pharmaceutical interests.
What you'll find is whole food recipes and health tips that make your life easier and toxin-free. She says, I love traditional cooking methods like fermenting, slow cooking, bone broth types of things, soaking, sprouting, growing your own herbs. She says, I can't live without healthy fats like butter, lard, and tallow. And you can find me cooking with local and organic vegetables and pasture-raised grass-fed meats. My dream is one day to own my own small farm and eat farm fresh eggs every single day.
Yeah, and that should be the dream of all of us. So,
And of course,
she got the same kind of thing.
Yeah, and
when she got to the real food, she healed.
And she was born in South Korea, so she has that ancestry of lots of fermentation.
Right.
And lots of traditional foods, and a country that was overpopulated many, many years ago, so they had to learn these things to survive because of the animal proteins probably were running out, and maybe they have fish, but if you're inland, maybe not so much. So the reason that people went to these foods was the scarcity of the foods that we normally would go to if you're living in the wild, little animals or big animals.
Right.
So this is primarily what everybody ate 1,000 years ago and beyond.
Yeah.
And we've slowly figured out that to save our lives during times that are really lean, we found these other foods that maybe not healthy, but they can keep you alive. Somehow we've turned these into the staples of today.
And as a result of turning them into the staples of today, we have created a mismatch in our circadian rhythm and our foods, because food and light are intimately connected. And when we continue to eat carbohydrates in a cold environment, when they don't grow,
Right.
we're going to become obese. If we live near the equator and there's a lot of sunlight where these carbohydrates are produced, eating a banana in the Arctic or
Doesn't
Sweden
make any sense.
doesn't make any sense.
Just like eating a seal in Guatemala probably doesn't make sense either.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And so the types of food in our environment, your zip code, and the amount of light exposure you get are intimately connected. And we're going to be diving down this because, as I now realize, living primal is much more than just about the food. We love to talk about the food. And this is something but we're going to talk about the other things that you do in your lifestyle to make sure that you are becoming everything that you can.
So let's go through her journey. She found out that she had irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, which, of course, manifests itself in bloating and fatigue and irritability, of course, anxiety. So she continued this for about 8 years. She had different symptoms, went to many different doctors, couldn't find the cause of it. A lot of people say it's genetic. It just happens to some people. These are
that
the
same
kinds of
answer
things.
that she got, which, like I said, most of the diagnoses that you get, when you really break down the words, they're not telling you anything.
Right.
They're just describing something they're observing, and you go and pay them to help you solve it. So
I
they're not
can look in the
solving your
mirror and
problem.
find that. So when she was 25, she started learning about food allergies. She started doing self-experimentation, trial and error. She started figuring out that she had gluten and cow dairy intolerances. And it wasn't long after that she found out about a huge effect of the quality of food can have on our health with the help of the Google. And she started changing the way she viewed food and her body and health completely.
Yeah.
So that's how she started.
Yep, exactly. So since then, she's incorporated a real food approach, high-quality ingredients, just like Grandma would have sourced for her family. And she has, made sleep a priority.
Mm-hmm.
And managing the stress levels of everyday life. Maybe we have to work harder at telling ourselves, it just isn't that important. Many of the things that we obsess about are, and these are all things that create gut disturbances,
Yeah.
And she says that quality fat is her new best friend.
Yes.
Sometimes she'll sneak in a little gluten, but it is no longer invited in her kitchen.
Yeah, my symptoms are mostly gone and my energy has skyrocketed. You can say I'm a much happier and likable person to those around me. While I struggle with adrenal fatigue and candida issues, I'm on a wonderful path of recovery, and I'm consciously educating myself with ways to heal myself, and then, of course, giving
Well, she'll
these
learn if
experiences
she
to others.
follows Jack Kruse, she'll find out that adrenal fatigue is really, as Jack says, and this is very interesting for me, is not all about the adrenal glands. It's a brain problem, and it's a lack of the proper full spectrum sunlight, particularly in the morning. So I would tell this nutritional therapy practitioner, as she's done all these things right, is she reconnecting? And as we get so busy and we're blogging on these computers and we're reading and we're preparing to blogs and we're engaged in social media, which is an addiction in itself, how much are we getting that full spectrum of light early in the morning, midday, and at the end of the day when we get those healing infrared energies that Robbie Bessner's been teaching us? So,
She says here, you've probably heard stories like mine before, which shows you how common this is for people to suffer from these symptoms. That comes from diet and the lifestyle. She says, my own journey has inspired me to help others find their best selves, and this is a passion that has led me to a career of nutritional therapy practitioner, NTP. It's a rewarding experience when you realize that you can improve your health through the changes in your life and you have control over yourself here instead of relying on pharmaceutical drugs. And that's what we're all about here, is we want to get people off the drugs and discover
and bless
some
her
of these
heart.
things.
I mean, I love the nutritional therapy practitioner program and all the other certified nutritional programs. But as you know, we have a constant battle in this country that the dietitians say that nobody, even medical doctors, are not allowed to talk about nutrition. So we have to, but I think we just need to override that and understand that, we have a right to the health of our bodies.
Yeah, through programs like ours, that's the way we do it, because we're a news program.
Exactly.
Yeah, we can discuss anything we want. Okay, stick around, folks. Pick up some Primal Edge during the break and subscribe to my Health Signals newsletter. We'll be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
So we're going to take it back a little farther. What exactly does a hunter-gatherer diet do to the body? And Tim Spector is a professor of genetic epidemiology at King's College in London, and a group of journalists and academicians are collaborating in something that's called The Conversation, where they're actually looking to compare look at the difference of analysis and commentary on different scientific explorations, I guess.
It's based on the mounting evidence that the richer and more diverse the community of microbes in your gut, the lower the risk of your any types of disease.
Right.
Diet is key to maintaining diversity, and was strikingly demonstrated when an undergraduate student went to McDonald's diet for 10 days, and after just 4 days experienced a significant drop of these beneficial microbes that are in our gut.
So this undergraduate student did the Supersize Me diet.
Right.
He did it for only 10 days.
Yeah, and his health.
And the supersize guy did it for 30, and he was like really in bad shape.
Yeah. So this guy, he took his colleague, Jeff Leach, invited him on a field trip to Tanzania, where he had been living and working with the Hasda, one of the last remaining hunter and gatherer groups in all of Africa. So the Hasda are these people who are nomads that have a small connection to the modern world because of their cows. They raise cows, but most of their stuff they get from the wild, just wandering around and grabbing things. So he had this 3-day journey with Jeff and decided to eat what everybody else is eating and see what the result was at the end of the 3 days. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, he says that his microbiome was pretty healthy these days. And among the first 100 samples that they tested as part of this My Gut project, he had the best gut diversity, the best overall measure of gut health, reflecting the number and richness of the different species. High diversity is associated with the low risk of obesity and many diseases. And as we said, these people, they've got it.
They have the high diversity that is one of the richest on the planet. So this research plan was devised by Jeff, who suggested I should have intensive 3 days of eating like a hunter and gatherer during my stay at his research camp. I would measure my gut microbes before heading to Tanzania.
I wonder how he did that.
Maybe a blood sample?
Yeah, probably a stool sample.
Yeah, stool sample. That sounds more like it.
During the stay with the Hunza and after his return to the UK, he also was not allowed to wash or use alcohol swabs, and I was expected to hunt and forage with the Hazda as much as possible, including coming in contact with the odd Hazda baby and baboon poo lying about.
That's just laying about. So to help him record the trip, I was accompanied by Dan Saldadino. He was a presenter at the BBC Radio 4's The Food Program, and who was preparing a Hazda microbe special, whatever the Hazda microbe special would be. So he flew to...
Yeah, so that's exactly what he was saying. He was flying, and he had to take a stool sample, is what he said. And so after the 8-hour journey and over bumpy tracks, they arrived there, and they went to atop of a rock to witness beautiful sunsets, and they were really implanting themselves with these people. And they kind of went into something called the million-year-old diet. There we go. So we started out with the...
Yeah, and interesting enough, they were at that place where they found Lucy. You know, this gorge.
this was the same place?
This is that same place where I think, was
Tell
it Johnson?
people who Lucy is, because they may not know.
Well, Lucy is the first Homo sapien relative anthropomorphic, I think it is called, and was a little small child, and they had found right near her were some tools to get marrow out of the bone, and somewhere around 2.7 million years old. So this was an ancestor of ours, not a direct descendant, but pretty clearly that it was using tools at that time to get the fat out of the marrow, which is the most precious fat with the microbes and everything that we want.
That's
so
right.
These people already knew that at that time.
So the million-year-old diet, the Hazda seek out the same animals and plants that humans have hunted and gathered for millions of years. Importantly, the human microbe tango that plays out here for eons probably shaped the aspect of our immune system and made us who we are today. And the significance of being at Hazda land was not lost, on this researcher. He realized how crucial it was to see that this is where our heritage was. So unlike the Hazda who sleep around the fire or in grass huts, connected to the magnetism of the earth, touching the ground, he was given a tent and told to zip it up tight as there were scorpions and snakes about. He had to be careful where he stepped. But after an interesting but restless night's sleep, a large pile of baobab pods had been collected for my breakfast. Baobab. That's an interesting plant.
Yeah.
Oh, that plant's got a lot of essential oils, essential fatty acids in it.
Here's some pictures. Of course, he's African-American, so
let me see those.
In.
Those must be the pods, the baobab. Well, maybe those are sticks or something. So,
here, people are hunting out there. This is just really, really neat. I'd love to take a journey like that. I mean, that's so cool. And here you have the gals.
Those are the Maasai, I think. Maasai are spitting. Spittle is an essential part of life for the Maasai of East Africa, as it acts as a blessing. People have different views about what the power and essence of someone resides. For some, spit represents an essence of you as a person. How about that?
Yeah, like we said, remember the way that our children used to be treated after they were weaned? We used to chew their food for them. And, of course, all that spittle and everything that's in there, those microbes that the mother gave the child were essential to that health of that child coming years and years and years.
That reminds me, I'm going to tell my daughter to do that because my grandson is just starting to eat food.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell her, why don't you do that and continue the inoculation of him.
I think that's a great thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we would look at it today, we would look at how foreign is that. But I think getting back to these things is really, really kind of neat.
Well, I'm interested in talking about the baobab fruit. Now, it's the staple of the Hazda diet, okay? I just actually bought some powdered baobab seed for smoothies. I haven't even opened it yet, but this kind of intrigues me because I just saw it, and I know as an aromatherapist that it's one of the richest skin oils. The baobab is a fantastic carrier oil, but it's packed with vitamins, fats in the seeds, and, of course, significant amounts of fiber. And when he was on this journey with the Hazda people, they were surrounded by baobab trees that stretched the distance as far as he could see. The fruits are a hard coconut-like shell that cracks easily to reveal a chalky flesh around a large, fat-rich seed. The high levels of vitamin C provide an unexpected citrus tang. So I'll let you guys know because I actually bought some the other day.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So the DNA discovery reveals genetic history of the ancient Egyptians. The Hazda, would mix the chalky bits with water and whisk it vigorously, talking about the baobab seeds, for 2 to 3 minutes with a stick until it was thick, milky porridge. And then they drink it as breakfast. So, look, they were getting a product that was rich in vitamin C.
And also a product that had a lot of microbes in it. really good, healthy microbes. It's interesting. In my Health Signals newsletter, I have this article we talked about a couple of weeks ago about how food causes crooked teeth.
Yeah,
really
the orthodontia epidemic is probably a result of the foods that we've eaten.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. So
Soft
stick around,
foods.
folks. We'll be
That's
right back.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Up next, 9 before 9 with John Logan on TFNN.
So we're going to finish up about our journalists and academicians that went on this journey to kind of establish themselves as hunter-gatherers with this group, the Hunza. But really, what you see, and this is a great read, actually, and beautiful pictures, is that he ate the foods that these people ate, the diversity, the baobab, vitamin C drinks, some berries during that day. They had some tubers that they dug that had been warm in the ground. And he said that particular night, no one was really hungry for dinner. Then the next day, after a fire, they went on a hunting party. And they went on the hunting party, and they tracked down a porcupine. I don't think that was on your dinner plate. Someone said in the chat room, how was your red meat last night? Again, we need to source it, and hopefully it's wild,
that'd be nice.
Or raised on its natural food, at least. And they talked about how they shared the food. So what we see is that they had this diversity, and then the next day they had something different. It wasn't the same food. Interestingly, the researchers said that He returned home to New York City, and within a few weeks, his stool sample proved that his gut microbiome had returned to the lack of diversity. Upon returning on the trip, he saw that he had a great diversity. Yeah. But it really encourages everyone to make the effort to improve their gut health by rewilding themselves, their diet and their lifestyle, kind of the focus of today's show. Being more adventurous in your normal cuisine, and reconnecting with nature and its associated microbial life may be all that we need, and get a little bit of sun here, there, and everywhere. So,
yeah, I like it, and I think we should get more different types of food in our diets. I think that makes a lot of sense.
We got some really good stuff got to read here on the break, but we'll have to wait till the end of the show. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
for
one
sharing.
of the things I wanted to bring up was this new satellite that's going into orbit this week, maybe even today. I'm not really sure. It's called the Mayak. It's an interesting one because it's going to end up being the second most brightest object in the night sky.
Wow, it's
next
a
to
Russian
the moon.
CubeSat developed by a ground of young scientists named Your Sector of Space, which supported the Moscow State University of Mechanical Engineering. And it will, like you said, be the brightest orbiting object in the night sky by deploying an optical reflector.
The optical magnitude on this is -10. The sun, I believe, is -26. Venus, I think, is -7.
Yeah, you can see Venus often, right? So we're going to be able to see this guy.
We're going to be able to see this as bright as probably brighter than we see Venus right now, and it's pretty bright. A lot of astronomers around the world are very concerned about this because when the full moon is out, they cannot see big section of space. They can't see past that light. Same with Venus.
So they say it's going to create light pollution.
Well, not only that, this thing is going to revolve, so it's going to be more like a strobe.
Tumbling motion over all axes with at least 1 revolution per second.
It's going very quickly, 1,750 miles an hour, so kind of like the ISS, if you've ever seen that. It hauls butt across the sky, and that's the way this is going to be. It's going to do a whole revolution in about 3 hours around the Earth.
So what's the mission of this satellite? It says there are 3 objectives. To demonstrate that space has become closer, and now it's possible for a group of friends and like-minded people to launch a real satellite.
Yeah, to perform real tests also for aerodynamic braking, and also to get rid of some debris. They're going to pick up this microscopical, they're going to fan out with this thing, and as it goes through space, it's going to be able to catch some of the microbes and things that are out there from past satellites. You know, we have probably 600-700 satellites out there. Only 100 really are in use every day.
Right.
So there's a big junk pile there, and they're trying to clean it up.
And they're going to finally collect new data about atmospheric density at high altitudes and use it as a basis for cross-checks of calculations of apparent magnitude of space objects and satellites.
Another thing that probably they're concerned with, too, how bright it is. Will it affect your melatonin because it's so bright at night?
And that's coming back to getting the right light in our eyes. So you're probably going to make sure you close your...
Interesting thing. I'll put it in the newsletter. Thanks a lot for sticking around, folks.
So you get good melatonin at night.
Black it out,
sun
folks.
in the morning.
Yeah. Thanks for sticking around. We'll see you next show. Bye-bye.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.